Hey YouTube family, how are you guys all doing? Hope you're all doing well. Just a Saturday afternoon, I was playing on my M-Musi Capricorn and I was noticing some buzzing going on in certain spots. I was wondering if maybe things had shifted now that here in PI it's getting, it's gone from being humid to being kind of cold and dry. So started checking out some stuff and I decided to take the neck off and check for some high frets, and I actually found some high frets, so I did a complete fret leveling. But I haven't crowned or polished the frets yet. So I just got some new tools, and I thought this would be a great time to have an episode of you and me checking out gear in my basement. So, enter the M-Musi Capricorn neck and a brand new FretGuru crowning file, and also a brand new StewMac short centered Z file. The StewMac file is 300 grit. You can get these in various grits, but the 300 seemed to be the one that was kind of the most recommended for just kind of do-it-yourselfers. So I got this one, and the FretGuru, it doesn't really say what grit it is, but just by eyeing the inside, these are both like diamond coated cutters, and they look kind of the same. So anyway, they claim on the FretGuru website that this is the holy grail of crowning files. And on the StewMac website, they say that these are the absolute best files that they have ever come up with, and a lot of videos on YouTube with different luthiers are kind of saying that these are great too. Both these files have a narrower side for smaller frets and a wider side for larger frets. Now on the FretGuru file, it's well indicated, right? You can see medium to large on here and then large to extra large on the other side. But on this one, it's not indicated. Not even underneath this rubber, grip that they put on. You kind of have to just eyeball the groove to see. So if the lettering on the file are upside down, you're on the larger side. And if the lettering is right side up, you're on the smaller side. They are, somewhat similar. And as far as weight goes, they're pretty similar, considering this one's a lot smaller. But I mean, the FretGuru is a little bit heavier. You can feel it in your hand. But this has some significant weight to it. So I'm not sure what they use, but it feels high quality. Now, I will tell you this. Both these files individually cost more than some of the budget builds that you've seen me do on my site. They are not cheap, especially here in Canada. And so they better be good. Now you might be saying, why did you buy these files? Like, there are other techniques to crown frets. And I'll tell you. So a good buddy of mine, 2Bike Mike, if you haven't checked out his videos, you go see him. He does all his frets. He levels them with a leveling bar, just like everybody else does. And then to crown them, so you basically start with, 220, and then go 320 and 400, 600, 800, 1,000, 2,000. Like, you just keep going up, and all you do, take a little piece of dense foam, wrap the sanding paper around it, and just go up and down this way, right? That will take the edge off the fret going down this way, and then coming up this way will do the same. So you basically just go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I did that as well. The problem with that technique is you need to have the magic touch. You need to be very good at it as to not put too much pressure in one spot of the fretboard versus another. You have to be very fluid in your motion. Although I've done quite a few fret levelings now, every single one of them I had to do again, because after crowning using this technique, my frets were unlevel. I would measure them again, between the processes, and they were unlevel. I've always had some high spots, so I had to start over, do them again, and I just suck at this technique. I'm just not good at it. And I needed to find a way to be able to crown my frets so that it's foolproof and I don't have to do any guesswork really. And this is where these fret files come in. So the claim is that these fret files being center files, both of these are kind of the same. This one has more of a triangular point to the top of it than the FretGuru from what I can see. However, they are designed to take off just, the edges of the fret and leave that nice thin pencil line. So I was thinking I would kind of share some info with you guys and simply mark up these frets and I'll crown one with one crowning file and I'll crown the other with the other crowning file and we'll see what happens. Basically, for the sake of experiment, I'm going to do the same amount of passes and with both files, and then we'll check to see if there's a visual difference between the two. Right, here we go. FretGuru. All right, so that was 30 passes, and have a look at this. So I don't know if you'll see that, but hopefully you'll see that that line, the marker line, is thinner, right? I don't know how to really show you that. These frets are so shiny because they're stainless steel. So see how the marker is like full width on this fret, but there's only like a small line. Now that line is still not small enough after 30 passes. So let's try the StewMac. I want to make sure I use the big side. Okay, so like this. Here we go. $20. So that was 30 passes with the StewMac file. Oh, there we go. So the StewMac file seems to give you a tighter line, maybe, eh? I'm not sure. Fairly similar. But that's still too much line for me. I read somewhere if you're using the 300 grit on stainless steel frets, it'll work, but you're gonna have to do more work. So that's where they recommended the 150 grit centered Z file as opposed to the 300. So I'm gonna do another 30 passes with each file and see how it works. Now this line is getting pretty thin. You can see that. Still wider than what I would like. So I may have to use the other side of the file. So let me try this one. Now, some of you might be thinking, yeah, well, it's not really fair because, you know, the dagger is longer, but not really. The filing surfaces are pretty much exactly the same length. In fact, the StewMac one is a little bit longer. If I line it up on the corner, right where this one starts to curve, obviously that's not hitting the frets, right? You'll see that the StewMac one is longer, has a longer filing surface. So, you know, that's what we get. Pretty darn similar, I'd say. I don't know. Is one better than the other? This one was just a little bit less money than the FretGuru, a little bit. I'm not sure. I don't know which one I'd recommend, but if you're doing a guitar with a set neck and you can't take the neck off the guitar, this one would be way easier once you get to the point where the fretboard is over the body. Whereas this one, you know, because of the way it's made, you'd have to be careful going over that point, right? Because of the handle. And then your hand obviously is going to be in the way. And then if you hold it up here, well, then this handle's sticking out. So I guess if I'm a telly guy, so it's easy for me. I can just, you know, pop the neck off and I can get it done that way. But so I don't really care. But I would think if you're doing crowns on a set neck guitar, this one would probably be the way to go. But this FretGuru really does do a nice job as well. Which one is better? If I had to pick, looking at these lines here, I would say that the StewMac gives you a bigger taper on your fret, meaning it takes more meat off right to the, you know, to the top. The line on the StewMac one, you know, the bottom fret here, is a little bit narrower than the FretGuru file after the same amount of passes. And as far as pressure, you don't really apply any. You just kind of let the weight of the file do the job. I'm going to experiment with this, and maybe I'll come back at the end once I'm done, and I'll let you know how it went and what the final results were. Chat soon. All right, well, here you go. Frets are done. All nicely crowned. Good shine to them. I mean, these crowning files are great, but you still gotta, you know, polish your frets afterwards. So are they worth it? Only you can answer that, I guess. Just depends how fussy you are with your fretwork and if you do your own or not. As far as I'm concerned, these are both good tools, but I don't think for a second they're worth what they're selling for. These are both over $100 Canadian each. It seems a bit much for a crowning file, but they do a good job. I ended up using the StewMac fret file. I went over all the frets with the FretGuru, and then I went over them again with the StewMac, and I used actually both sides. So I used the wider side the first time, and I made about, you know, kind of 20 passes, and then I flipped it over and used the narrow side, and that line got really, really small. So Anyway, I'm happy with the final result, and my frets are level. My frets are level, so they work for me. I'm not convinced they're really worth their asking price, but lots of luthiers use them, so I guess that speaks for something, because I'm not a luthier. But anyway, guys, I thought you might like to see these fret files kind of in action, and see what just your average guitar guy thinks about them, as opposed to some famous luthier online. They're good. They're good. Just expensive. So that's it for me. You guys take care. Thanks for watching, and God bless.